Marvel Comics have an interesting relationship with Spider-Man fans. It's kind of a love-hate relationship. They love to hate Spider-Man fans. They like to go out of their way to just piss them off. They've been doing this for decades now. Obviously, the big, really egregious one is One More Day. Sins Past was pretty much just as bad, leaving Dan Slott on Amazing Spider-Man for 8 years, even though he wasn't doing a good job and no one really cared about the series. And people aren't really enjoying the Spider-Man that we're getting now. We've all been hearing about Amazing Spider-Man 26, and it's going to be so controversial, and you got to get you a copy. It's like they're telling you it's a car wreck because you need to watch it, right? They don't want you to read it because the story's good. They want you to buy the comic book because they're promising that you absolutely hate it. But of course, what about the after effects? What about when everybody, just like you expected, actually do hate the comic book? Maybe they'll stop buying it. Marvel Comics are doing very well with Spider-Man right now, even though Zeb Wells' Amazing Spider-Man just isn't very good. Dan Slott's Spider-Man is actually worse, somehow. Yet, Spider-Man fans are still sticking around for the ride, especially on Amazing Spider-Man, even though they're not particularly liking the story. So now, Zeb Wells and editor Nick Lowe, the group editor for Marvel Comics Spider-Man line, are daring you. They are daring you to actually stop reading the comic book because they're making it bad on purpose. Recently, Zeb Wells talked to thepopverse.com about his Amazing Spider-Man run and some of the things that you can be looking out for. Obviously, they talked about Amazing Spider-Man 26 and a couple of other things, one of which, as far as I'm concerned, as soon as Zeb Wells said this in an interview, he should have been removed from being the Spider-Man writer altogether because he's not fit for the job. Let's get into some of these questions that he was asked in the Popverse and some of the ridiculous answers that just let you and I know that Zeb Wells and Nick Lowe are going out of their way to fuck with us. First question, this is all leading to Amazing Spider-Man 26, which you have called the most shocking event to happen to Spider-Man in 50 years. Back in 1973, Marvel killed Gwen Stacy. I know that you can't tell us what this shocking thing is, but what can you tease? This is what Zeb Wells, writer for Amazing Spider-Man, had to say. I can tease that many people will be very, very mad. I can tease that Nick Lowe told me not to do any comic conventions after the issue comes out, laughs, and then says people will be upset. So Zeb Wells, as the writer of Amazing Spider-Man, has intentionally went out there and created a story that he knows Spider-Man fans, Marvel fans, comic book fans in general are actually going to hate. And he's had to been warned from the group editor at Marvel Comics, Nick Lowe, that once this comic book comes out, people are going to be so mad at you that you actually shouldn't go to conventions because it's probably not going to be safe. And even if it is safe, you probably don't want to hear what people have to say to you. A lot of people are speculating that he's going to kill off MJ. I don't think it'll be MJ. Maybe he's going to kill off Peter Parker. He's going to do something very controversial. Obviously, you can't kill off Gwen Stacy because that happened 50 years ago. And one of the most dramatic, amazingly executed deaths in comic book history that still remains to this day. As long as you don't consider the Gwen Stacys throughout the multiverses to be other Gwen Stacys, I guess she hasn't returned. God, I just hate multiverses. That's another video. They've obviously made this decision multiple times. One More Day, they knew people were going to hate that. They went out there and did it anyway. Sins Past, what a shocking revelation. Thankfully, they just retconned that in Nick Spencer's run. One of the nice gifts Nick Spencer gave us as he was exiting Marvel Comics. Unfortunately, he was never able to undo One More Day. And it certainly felt like, if you were enjoying that Nick Spencer Spider-Man run, and I was, that he was getting Mary Jane and Peter back together. He had the ring in his pocket. He was ready to propose. Nick Spencer ends up leaving Marvel Comics to go over to Substack. I guess they were mad, so they never paid that off. And now they're doing everything that they can to not have Peter and MJ together. Now MJ has kids because she lived in another multiverse. And everybody in the world hates Peter Parker. What an amazing arc for the flagship character in Marvel Comics. And now they're going to go out of their way and do something just to piss people off, because this is really all that they have left. Zeb Wells has proven that he's not capable of writing a good, Amazing Spider-Man run. His run absolutely blows donkey dicks. And that's me being very kind with my words regarding his current Amazing Spider-Man run. The Tombstone stuff at the beginning, pretty exciting stuff. Every single thing after that has been absolute dog shit. That is what his comic book run is. And now they actually have to set the Spider-Man universe on fire just to get any sort of attention anymore. I absolutely hope this blows up right in his face. I hope this is a stick of Acme Dynamite And obviously, Zeb Wells and Nick Lowe are the coyote. It blows up right in their face, and everybody does what they probably should do and just walk the fuck away. Stop buying the comic book. In my opinion, not exactly a great marketing strategy when you have a creative company like Marvel Comics that's absolutely dependent on Spider-Man lifting up a bunch of other titles that are related to that. Speaking of other titles, the next question was another former Rogues Gallery member, but one that Peter is a lot more comfortable with is Felicia Hardy. They've gotten closer during your run. Talk about getting Peter and Felicia back together. How do you see their relationship? This is what Zeb Wells had to say. I see it as very fun. They're both superheroes. Felicia is clearly not his equal because she's more of just about everything that he is. She's more. It's fun to put him in a situation where he can barely keep up and to see if now that he's a little older, see if he can hang with her a little bit better. Zeb Wells, who's writing the flagship Marvel series Amazing Spider-Man, actually said in an interview that Felicia Hardy is more than Peter Parker Spider-Man. She's a better hero. She's more fit. Spider-Man can't keep up with her. And this is the moment Nick Lowe should have called Zeb Wells or his representation and said, I'm sorry, you've been removed from the book. Your stories suck just to begin with, but to actually say something like that, so egregiously stupid, and actually put it into print in an interview, disqualifies you from ever writing a Spider-Man story again. That's how stupid what he just said in that interview is. There is nobody in this universe with 2 functioning brain cells that actually thinks that Black Cat, on her best fucking day, could even touch Spider-Man just as a superhero, just with the power sets alone. She's a criminal. She's not even really a hero. And I understand they've been trying to make Felicia Hardy a thing where she's kind of Peter Parker's kryptonite. You know, she's like the Elektra to Daredevil, or she's the Catwoman, obviously, to Batman. That would be the better one since she's basically just a Catwoman knockoff anyway. But Zeb Wells just saying that about the character, saying that Spider-Man can't keep up with her, should disqualify him from not only writing Spider-Man comics, he shouldn't be able to write Marvel comics anymore. DC Comics should be removing his name from the Rolodex if it was ever there to begin with, because that is just an asininely stupid statement. I understand we don't like Peter Parker, right? We don't like Spider-Man. We don't like straight white male heroes for Marvel Comics and really DC Comics for the most part either. But I hate to break it to you, Zeb, but Peter Parker Spider-Man is what's paying your bills right now. He's pretty much the only reason anyone has mentioned your name in 3 fucking years. And without Peter Parker Spider-Man, you're a nobody, just like you were before you got on the book. I don't care how good your Hellions run was. Nobody was buying it despite it being good. The only book anyone's bought in the last 5 years with your name on it, on the regular at least, is Amazing Spider-Man. And it's not because the story is good, because it absolutely sucks. It's because it's Amazing Spider-Man. It's not because it's Zeb Wells. If you want to go write your stupid Spider-Man Felicia Hardy Black Cat fanfic, go to fucking Tumblr where you actually belong and actually leave Marvel Comics, because you, sir, are absolutely unfit to just be a part of the universe with statements that are absolutely stupid like that. When the last one I'll talk about, they asked him over in Jed McKay's Mary Jane and Black Cat Limited series, we saw Mary Jane with powers. Will the origin of her powers be addressed during your current arc as we flash back to the missing events of the last year? Zeb Wells says yes. We will definitely see how that came about and what happened and see the origin of Mary Jane as a hero. They continuously make every single fucking character at Marvel and DC a hero. I really like Jeremy Adams' Flash run. Why does Iris West have powers now? It's just stupid. The kids have powers. Wally has powers. Barry has powers. There's an entire Flash family of like 80 characters now, and we need one more. Not everyone actually needs to have superpowers in a superhero comic book. You can actually have, I don't know, supporting characters, relationship interests, things that actually flesh the character out beyond just being a superhero. And obviously that is what Gwen Stacy and Mary Jane have done in the past, and everybody wants to see the Peter Parker Mary Jane relationship restored. No one wants to see Mary Jane with powers. It's like, God, it smells like Jordan White, but I know it's Nick Lowe. These guys are all idiots. They absolutely are rooting Spider-Man on purpose. There's a reason there's 80 different versions of Spider-Man running around the universe right now. It's because they want to devalue the character because they're fucking idiots. They know that they don't own Spider-Man. They don't own Peter Parker. They don't own the IP. So they're going to go out of their way to go out and destroy what they see as something as problematic within the Marvel Comics universe. That straight white male character, that archetype has just got to go. If we can't replace him with Miles Morales or something else, we'll just replace him with everybody and make the character less popular. I am completely convinced that is what's going on here. Sure, they're absolutely stupid. I definitely agree with that. But there is some motivation with what they're doing, going out of their way to ruin a character that is the cash cow, the flagship character for their entire publishing initiatives. Absolutely stupid stuff. But hey, Zeb Wells and Nick Lowe will continue to do this stuff as long as people continue buying Spider-Man, even if it's good or it's bad. No matter what, people will buy Amazing Spider-Man, even if they're going out of their way. And the only reason they've given you to even read the fucking book over the last 2 years is they're going to do something you absolutely hate. If you don't realize just how bad this run is, Doc and I recently reviewed this issue of Spider-Man continuing on Zeb Wells' storyline. It's so bad. It is beyond comprehension. If you haven't seen this yet, definitely click on it right now. There's also a link in the video description.